Hello! With Company of Heroes 2 going free to own for the weekend, I figured now would be a good time to create a little tutorial for anyone getting into the game. Just explaining the basic mechanics so that you can get straight in and start enjoying the game, because it is quite fun. Before you actually get into the game though, there are a few things that you need to know. First off, there are 5 factions in the game that you can choose from. There's 3 for the allies and 2 for the Axis. In a normal multiplayer game, you cannot mix factions, so you can only have Axis factions together and allied factions together. You can't have like the Soviets fighting alongside the Wehrmacht. But anyways, there's 5 factions. The Soviets, which focus on having a large quantity of units that are somewhat expendable, and they have a lot of tanks mid-game that are pretty cheap, but they don't have necessarily the same power as other factions. They're a very good newbie faction. They're quite forgiving. Then there's the Wehrmacht, which is sort of the basic German factions. They're also called the Austere. Many people in the community call them the Austere. They focus on defending early game and not necessarily trying to control the map early game, but using a later game tank advantage in armor to hopefully turn the game back in their favor and push the enemies out. Then there's the US forces, which are a very versatile faction that is very strong in the early to mid game, but they have no heavy armor, they have no heavy tanks, so they tend to fall off late game. But they are very versatile. Then there's the Oberkommando West, which is an elite German faction, which has some very expensive but powerful units. They have no way to gain extra resources like fuel or ammo, so they have to scavenge it off of destroyed vehicles. And they're pretty unique. Their units are very expensive, so if you lose stuff, it's quite punishing. And they do have some very strong late game tanks, but you can normally only get out 1 or 2 of them in a normal game because they are so expensive. Then there's the British forces, which are a very defensive faction. They sort of struggle early game, but they use artillery and some slow but powerful tanks late game to win the game. Anyways, today I'm going to be playing the Wehrmacht, and there are a few other things. There are doctrines here. Doctrines will change how you play the game. You can select 3 of them going in, and once you get into game, you can choose the one that best fits what you want to do for that game. We'll get more into this later. Then there are these bulletins, which are just small bonuses, so don't worry about them. I mean, it's pretty small bonuses, so just minor stuff. Anyways, let's hop in. So as we get into the game here, you'll see that quite a few things. One, I have this one squad of infantry, pioneers, and I have this camp group headquarters. This is going to be your main base. You're always going to have a building in the starting sector here. If you look on the map, you'll see that I have a blue line around my sector. That shows that that's territory that I control. And then you'll see that there's 4 resources actually on the bottom right of the screen. Manpower, which just steadily ticks up over time. That's going to be what you're using to build your troops and pretty much everything. And as you train more troops, as you have more stuff on the field, the income will go down, so it's sort of an upkeep system. Then there's munitions, which is what you're going to be using to use call-ins, and you're going to be using that to upgrade your infantry. So for example, if I want to get my Flammenwerfer, I would need 60 munitions. Then there's fuel, which is used for tanks, and population cap, which is the amount of stuff you can have on the field. So since pioneers, engineers are going to be your sort of basic builder, they can build and repair stuff. I'm going to build an infantry company. so that I can get some more advanced infantry, and I'm also going to be getting a machine gun team from my main base here. You can see on the bottom right what you can produce, and these various tabs are your production structures, so I only have this one at the moment, and I'm building the second one. If you hover over units, you can see how much they cost. And so, yeah, now that I've built this structure, I'm going to move my infantry to this white circle here. This is a capture point. You can also see them on the minimap. So there are these circle ones, which are just sort of basic ones. They provide a small amount of ammo and fuel. Then there's fuel, which just provide a lot of fuel, and ammo, which provide a lot of ammo. And the stars are victory points, which you need to win the game. So as this game goes on, I'm just going to try to push out and take some territory. You can see hotkeys as well for everything if you hover over it. So for example, if I press F2, I can select the infantry company, and then G to train grenadiers, which is what I'm doing. Grenadiers are the basic infantry for this faction. And so they're going to be the backbone of your army, especially the early game. So just send my guys all around the map to get as much territory as possible. You can garrison buildings with infantry by right-clicking on the buildings. So you can see here, since this is an LMG squad, it needs a setup time, which is that yellow line you see there. And after that, it can now start shooting, as you can see.
We have a fresh grenadier squad.
So positioning is very important for those squads. They also have time. They also take time to unset up to get back to a mobile form. So you got to be careful with them. But as you can see, since I'm in this building right now, I am very safe from enemy small arms fire.
A new grenadier squad is ready.
Right, so now I have my third grenadier squad on the field. A little recommendation as well. You can see all of your squads that you have on the field on the top right of the screen, and the amount of infantry in the squad, and the amount and the hotkey that you have it bound to. To set a hotkey for something, you press Control and then a number, and whenever you press a number from then on out, you'll select that. For example, I have my Pioneer squad on 4, so if I were to unselect them and then press 4, I select them again. Another way to select things is to just, as you see here, hold down left click and then draw a box, and you'll select everything in the box. That's good for selecting multiple things at once. Or you can just click on the individual unit you want to select.
We are losing a sector.
So as you can see there, they have this red arrow above them. That means that they're retreating. Unit preservation is extremely important in this game. You want to keep your units alive because 1, it's cheaper to reinforce the units when you keep them alive, and 2, you get veterancy, which makes your units stronger if you keep them alive. So a unit with more veterancy is always going to be stronger than one without it, so you want to keep your stuff alive. So as you can see, since this guy took 2 infantry in damage, now I have to reinforce him back to full HP. So I'll press R twice and it'll take some manpower, but I will be able to have them at full strength again.
We have been granted access to superior arms and soldiers. The enemy is taking our territory.
See, this guy needs to get out, so I press T to retreat, and he runs back. When you go and retreat, you get a speed bonus and a little bit of a defense bonus because you can become harder to hit as you move quicker. And the infantry just takes as quick as a path as possible back to base. So, while I said that I would be at full strength after reinforced, you still see that this blue bar for HP is not entirely full. That is because my units took health damage outside of just the individual units. So that's why you need medics. Medics will heal your units to true full HP.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
So I upgraded tech earlier, so this is just a unique faction for this, or unique mechanic for this faction. So now that I have my new tech, I will build another tech structure. So as you can see here, I have 75 munitions, so I'll upgrade with an LMG by pressing W, and I'll spend 60 down to 16 munitions. Meanwhile, I'll just have my units around the battlefields. Ooh, that's a Molotov. Capture some stuff. Okay. So this is the weakness of setup machinery as well. You see here that I couldn't really fight because I was not set up. Now I am, and they get suppressed. Okay. This guy needs to get out.
The enemy is taking our territory.
So I have a mortar over here. This mortar has abilities, as you can see in the bottom right. So if I were to press B, I can target a barrage. I'll just target it there. You see they'll set up and they'll start firing.
We have a fresh half-track at our disposal.
Now you can see underneath this infantry squad, I have a weapon icon. That is because I upgraded with the LMG here. So now it shows underneath the squad. Alright, vehicles. Vehicles work kind of differently from from infantry rather. They cannot retreat, but instead you can reverse them by pressing W and then clicking, you know, wherever you want them to move. Which is obviously going to be much safer than revealing your weaker front armor.
Enemy forces are securing our territory. The sector has been cut off.
So now might be a good time for me to talk about doctrines more. As you can see on the bottom left, I have a command point bar. That shows that increases as you get more kills, as you fight more, and you can use that for various things in your doctrine. So if you hover over the doctrine, you can see various numbers underneath all these icons. That means how many command points you need in order to actually activate them. So I'm going to select Spearhead Doctrine, and as you can see, I can use 3 of these. And so one of these is a call-in of a mortar half-track, so I'll just use that.
Are seizing a sector.
The half-track is kind of unique as well in that infantry can reinforce off of it, so that's pretty powerful.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector. Time to go. Our lines of supply are disrupted. The enemy is inflicting losses upon us.
I say that as I immediately lose my half-track.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
So I kind of need to regroup here and then push back out.
New anti-tank gun has arrived. Let's go on the way. Get going. We will secure it. The alert man, that is enemy territory. The enemy is taking our territory. Grenadiers reporting. Achtung, we must take control of the enemy has
So another couple enemy vehicles. Thankfully now I have an anti-tank gun. which, since these are just weakly armored half-tracks, I should be pretty set. There's one. And this is a bit of an issue.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector. Forward! AT gun is displacing. Good idea. Forward, march.
That didn't hit. There is a chance for every unit in this game to miss. Kind of adds to the realism, I suppose. Hey, direct hit.
Moving to new. Taking position in enemy territory. They can't keep us from it. Moving to enemy territory. Full strength. Jawohl, we are moving. You need something. Granatwerfer en route. We will relocate. Here we go.
So there is an abandoned vehicle over here, I believe, so I can reinforce it, and then I can use it for myself. As you can see, the 2 above it means that I need 2 infantry in the squad to commandeer it.
They won't hold it for much longer. Our opponents are seizing a sector. Grenadiers, it's time to go. Time to go. The territory is out of contact. Mortar carrier waiting for orders. Bloody bastards back to Siberia. Soviet forces are engaging us. Seizing territory.
These guys need to keep moving up. So now you can see I can take control of this, and hey, it's mine now.
We have been assigned fresh Panzer Grenadiers. We are losing a sector. We have captured. Move orders received. Let's move it. Unit Pioneer squad. Mortar carrier. What are your orders? Head at you now.
Another thing that I have yet to mention is cover. If you hover over the ground with infantry, you'll see these gray circles on the ground, and then yellow circles, and some... where's some green circles? There's some green circles, and then red circles. Red circles are negative cover. You take more damage if you stand there. Gray circles is no cover, which means that you just get no bonuses. Yellow is light cover, which means that you get some defense, and green is the best cover in the game. So you want to be utilizing cover to your advantage to win and to take favorable trades. So I'm going to upgrade my tech yet again. And there is an artillery piece coming up over here. So I need to stop that. And there we go.
Standing by. On our way. Capturing location taken. Push on. You need some reconnaissance? It will be ours. That is our territory. Shoots in here. One foot after the other, Kinder. Capturing objective.
So you can see, now I have enough ammunition for a call-in, so I can use my doctrine that I selected to call in a reconnaissance overflight to see what is going on. So let me just call that in over here.
The enemy cannot hide from our eyes in the sky.
So now, as you can see, I called in a recon plane, and I can see basically everything around there.
How can we head? Forward. March. Squad advance.
going to retreat my infantry to get my next tech structure.
The enemy is taking our territory.
That is a tank, which is bad news for me.
Reconnaissance Stuka, fueled and ready to fly.
Okay, time to go.
Waffenwagen is moving.
Get in there.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Hold this bastard. Grenadiers. This could be an interesting trip.
Ja, cancel Grenadiers moving out.
Reinforcements. Here we go.
Yes,
Grenadiers, it is time to go.
standing by.
Going. Yeah, hack moving.
Yeah?
On the move.
A pack gun is ready for orders.
Hack here.
Another thing that I'd recommend you do is to turn on prioritized vehicles in Free Fire. So I'd recommend always have prioritized vehicles on because pack guns and anti-tank guns are pretty bad against infantry. Yeah. So force that tank back.
Faster. Move like pioneers. To objective. Vorwärts. March.
Shoots in here, moving.
Get some Panzer Shreks on my Panzer Grenadiers.
We're going that way. Moving to enemy controlled region. Okay, fall back to base.
Now I can get a tank out of my own, the Panzer IV, so I'll do so.
Grenadiers, moving to hostile sector.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
By the way, another thing that I have not mentioned yet is that you need, or not you need, you can repair vehicles with engineers and some other units if you get some upgrades for them.
Ready. Let's move it.
So,
Moving as instructed.
going to
Received.
repair all these vehicles, and I'll move up with my LMG.
Squad moving out.
We are moving.
Heavy machine guns will soon be ours.
Standing by to attack. AT squad.
Panzer IV is ready for battle.
They're shooting at us. Los!
Panzer redeploying Panzer.
He's so tired. Let's go, pioneer. Pack it up.
Move to the rear.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
What do you need? MG body cruiser here.
Small arms fire, verdammten Panzer out of here.
Enemy panzer.
Panzer IV moving.
We will secure it.
You now have Tiger tanks. We are losing a sector.
Yes.
Stopping. The enemy is attempting to steal our sector. Scout car. Our foes have 300 points remaining. Increase your efforts. Get this verdammten Panzer out of here.
Machine gun squad. Panzer grenadier.
Rechter Panzerschnellwagen reporting. Panzer IV ready. Panzer IV displacing. MG-42 turret is ready.
Wir in Kontakt mit der Enemy.
shock grenadiers, not shock grenadiers, shock troops are pretty strong, so I do not want to engage the solo.
Yeah, we're ready for anything. AT squad moving out. Srezcat to the front. We're moving.
Let's go. Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Uh-oh. No line of sight.
Renovated HQ is ready, and heavy tanks are now available.
And destroyed.
The enemy is taking our territory. Infantry has engaged us. We have lost a pack gun.
Ouch.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Fall back! Pioneers ready for anything!
Yes?
I'll get at some more engineers so that I can get some more repair capabilities.
The enemy has broken our supply lines.
We will secure it. Time to move out of here. We're under Soviet attack!
Standing by.
Pick up your feet!
Fragmentation bombs will decimate their infantry.
So you see when I call the fragmentation bombs, there's these red smokes here. Red means that it is, as you can see, they're very destructive. Green means that it is either not a destructive, like it's like recon or logistics, something that won't kill you, basically.
We have lost a Granatwerfer squad.
Securing location.
Wasn't paying attention, lost a
Take us there, driver. Pull up here.
lost a mortar, kind of unfortunate.
Moving Panzer IV to new location. Maneuver and fire.
Grenadiers on the move!
We are losing a sector. The enemy has destroyed an anti-tank gun.
Thankfully, when I lose AT guns, I can just re-equip them or retake them for myself. Unfortunately, the AI can as well. So, okay, you'll notice here with these infantry, they now have a yellow triangle underneath them. That means that they have a light suppression. If it increases to red, they have heavy suppression and can't move.
Half-track has arrived.
So yeah, when you get suppressed, be very careful, and you should really just retreat. Retreating instantly breaks suppression. Suppression is caused by mostly LMGs and some flat
Enemy is
guns.
attempting to steal our sector. We are suffering losses. You have a rocket? I reckon this Panzerwerfer moving. Water cannon. Let's go.
Yes?
Grenadier!
Another thing that I have yet to mention is you can set rally points by taking one of your selecting one of your production facilities and right-clicking anywhere on the ground.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. The sector has been cut off. Get this verdammten Panzer out of here!
Whoa, what just happened to my AT gun?
The enemy is taking our territory. Looking for the enemy.
And I missed with my Panzerwerfer. Unfortunate.
Ready! AT squad moving out.
Dieter tells me our new
Cancel track to the front. We're moving.
Driver, get us there. We are losing a sector. Taking fire!
Firing on us!
Granatwerfer ready. Granatwerfer getting better and better. Ready for action. Scout car rolling out.
Los! We will take it for him!
Redeploying Panzer IV.
We must regroup! Retreat!
Enemy infantry is engaging us.
Taking position in enemy territory! My friends, advancing into Hana!
Get us out of here!
Seizing!
Water cannon deploy the enemy. Scout car rolling out.
Einsatzbereit! Get going!
AT squad moving out.
We have construction work to do.
Squad moving out.
Enemy contact.
Here we
First gear. Ja, ja, aber Panzerwerfer confirms move orders. Panzer IV moving.
Pioneers! Yes? On the way!
Cancel track to the front. We're moving.
Panzer IV displacing. Mortar fire! We have our orders. Panzer, get this fucked up. Panzer out of here. Time to go. Panzer IV moving.
Hack here! Hack moving!
Yes? AT squad moving out. Moving to the front.
Moving Panzer IV to new
On
location.
our way! Kill the howitzer crew! Move your feet, pioneers falling back!
Half track. Granatwerfer. The enemy is attempting to steal our sector. Rocket barrage launched.
Flame force, pull out pioneers!
Half track awaiting orders.
Ready! You will get it! We're going that way!
Oh, big rocket barrage.
On the move!
Waffenwagen is moving.
Squad, advance!
We are moving. Moving out.
We'll hold this sector.
I can't build a Panther, so I'll just go for a Brumbar instead.
Yes? Vorwärts!
We have reduced. Our opponents are seizing a sector. Panzer here. Yeah. Driver, get this Panzerwerfer on the move. We will get there. The enemy has destroyed an anti-tank gun. Contact! Enemy Panzer! The enemy is down to 75 points. Panzer IV moving! Orders!
Let's go!
Panzer IV standing! Get this fucked up Panzer out of here! Sturmpanzer ready!
On the way! We will shoot! Secure the territory!
Get moving! Panzer IV has a veteran crew! We have hammered the enemy down to 50 points. Panzer IV moving!
Let's go, pile! Rally at our base! We can do it!
What? No! is in our grasp. The enemy has 25 points remaining. The enemy is taking our territory.
Get this fucked up! Punch out of here! You found something? We're moving. Jawohl.
Ready? AT squad moving out.
That's it. Fully reinforced. Ready to engage Soviet. Time to move out of here. We're going
The enemy can taste defeat. They only have 10 points remaining.
moving to enemy territory. Target destroyed.
Forward!
Anyways, hopefully this helped you with the basics of Company of Heroes 2 and informed you on at least something. Yeah, and that is going to be the end of that.